bim, 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 bim. Guess what? We're live, and it is just gone 8 o'clock on a Saturday, and we are looking at the week's news. Lots to get through this week, and at the same time, not a lot, which doesn't make sense, I know. But anyway, there you go. You'll see what I mean. I put on the little banner thing at the bottom: Boris Trump, courts and reports, and the horror in Nottingham. Which basically sums up the week. It's been a week of lots of events. Well, no, not many events, but a lot of news, if that makes sense. Hi JT, hi Rach, hope you're good and very happy. You won't be able to this, sadly, because the news is rubbish. I've got more and finally than normal. Try and lighten the mood a little bit. Hi Smiley Mac, you made it. You did indeed. You are here whilst we are still on air. In fact, I've been on air for congrats on the 3k subs, thank you. Slowly but surely, 3016 I think. Not that I'm counting. Okay, I'm counting. It's like the ultimate game, isn't it? See how many subs you can get, and yeah, we're doing okay. So yeah, 3000 subs is decent, I think, for a middle-aged white man who's online and talks nonsense on a regular basis and drinks far too much Guinness. Even though I don't know if that's the thing, drinking too much Guinness. Anyway, we digress. We need to talk about the news, and thankfully it starts a little bit light-hearted because, well, it needs to, doesn't it? The news is just really not good. So we need something a bit light-hearted, a bit mellow to get us going, to get us up and running. So Nicola Sturgeon, the former leader of Scotland, the First Minister of Scotland in fact, and the leader of the SNP, who resigned a few months ago, and I said something's going to come out about this because she's resigned for no reason. I thought she was in there for the long term, and she just resigned suddenly and shockingly, and her husband was arrested over money accusations regarding the SNP, as was the Treasurer. And Nicola herself was arrested on Sunday, questioned for many hours, and then released without charge. But I think that is one we need to keep watching. Just Stop Oil were out today in Manchester. They kept running in front of people's cars. Oh, that's good. I would have forgot where my break was. That one. Deno's here as well for a live broadcast, which is unusual. So Smiley Mac, Deno, Smiley Mac, JT, probably gone already. But if he's not gone, he's listening on his work thingy in about 4 days' time, in which case all this news is out of date, mate. You're wasting your time. On a lighter note again, Nadine Dorries said she was going to resign as an MP in support of Boris Johnson, who had resigned as an MP. It seems a bit strange that people are resigning from being an MP, because it's like dead cushy really, being an MP. Just turn up, you get paid, you don't do anything, you get paid. It's great, and you get expenses as well. Meanwhile, a fire on a boat in Egypt. 2 Brits were missing, sadly. They were found some time later, and they had not survived this horrendous fire, which basically burned out this pleasure boat. Somewhere in the region of 30 odd people on there as well. So it's not a small boat, it's actually quite a sizable boat, but yeah, sadly the day ended in a tragedy. I did have a fun electric car convo with a group of 20 people before, and they finally came over to electric cars aren't the future side. Oh, very good. Well done, Smiley Mac. Yeah, that is good. Because I've been saying that, well, since electric cars were a thing. I learn new stuff even when it's old. I still use the fact that Coca-Cola are the only allowed to import cocaine leaves. Alright. I don't know what he's talking about. What am I doing here? What am I doing here? Where have I gone? Why is that doing that? That shouldn't be doing that. That should be doing this. There we go. There we go. I don't know what happened then. It all went a bit wrong. Anyway, we're now on Monday because Monday follows Tuesday. No, it doesn't. Follow Sunday, which I see if you're watching, listening. Open warfare at the top of the Tory party. Basically, everyone calling everyone names. And it's ridiculous. They're meant to be running the country. It's not... it's not for people's egos or anything like that. They're trying to run the country through a torrid time worldwide. And it was just nasty, nasty, nasty. Meanwhile, Silvio Berlusconi, the former Italian, multiple times president, has died at the age of 86, and he's one of the few people in the planet who can say that they've got more children than Boris Johnson, because he was a bit of a philanderer. He was a bit kinky, was old Silvio. Anyway, sadly, he's passed away, although not a lot of people liked him. So not a lot of people, world leaders or anything, actually said anything when he died. I think he was quite pally, though, with Putin, so that's probably got something to do with it. It takes us to Tuesday, and Tuesday morning we all awoke to the horrendous news of what was going on in Nottingham city centre. Around about 4 a.m, 3 people were stabbed and killed, a van was stolen, and 3 more people were run over. An arrest was made, but no one had any idea what was going on or why. All we knew was that 3 people had lost their lives needlessly through a very violent and savage attack. Meanwhile, Donald Trump appeared in court. He was the first president to be charged with federal charges, all to do with keeping documents that he shouldn't have kept. And he pleaded not guilty to the 30-odd charges that were laid against him. Meanwhile, in Ukraine, the Ukraine say that they are pushing back the Russian forces, and there could be some interesting news in a week or 2, but we don't know what that's going to be. Also, on Tuesday was a busy day. It was the first day of the COVID public inquiry, where they look into, it's going to take about 3 years this, they look into everything that happened during the COVID crisis. Now, mistakes were made, obviously. We all know what the mistakes are. Why we need a 3-year COVID inquiry is beyond me. We all know what went right, we all know what went wrong, and we're all better prepared for the next one that comes along. But we'll wait and see. Then we've got, where are we? Blackpool. A sewage spill due to a thunderstorm, which was spectacular, I have to admit. The United Utilities warned bathers in Blackpool not to go swimming because considerable amount of raw sewage had been accidentally pumped into the sea, directly where all the beaches are. Now, I understand that, you know, occasionally the weather is monumentally shocking, and this is one of those situations, but there's no excuse for pumping raw sewage into a tourist attraction. Surely the cheapest way of doing this is to extend the pipe so it goes considerably further into the sea, into the Irish Sea. In the meantime, they should be fixing it so that their systems can cope with this, so that nothing goes into the sea at all. As I've said a couple of times, that these companies are making millions, if not billions of pounds of profit for supplying something which is a necessity for life, but have not invested in the infrastructure. And the infrastructure is Victorian, the majority of it, and they knew that when they bought it. It's like buying a second-hand or a 15th-hand 1960s Ferrari. It's very good at what it did at the time, but it wouldn't necessarily win a Formula 1 Grand Prix race today. So you need to spend some money on it, and that's the issue we've got with the water companies. They are just taking the mickey and saying that they want us to go and pay for all their billions of pounds worth of repairs, is an absolute travesty and a joke. And no, we shouldn't pay anything. They should pay it and maybe not have as much profits, and learn that, you know, if you make money, you've got to invest it as well as just spend it on nice things that they do. Anyway, there was a vigil held in Nottingham on Wednesday for the victims, the 3 murder victims of the horrendous knife crime on the early hours of Tuesday. The man arrested was originally from Africa, and he had a mental health issue as well. So I think where he's from is somewhat irrelevant. If someone's got mental health issues, then they should be monitored a little bit more closely if they're going to do something like this. I know you don't know necessarily that they're going to do it, and you don't necessarily know what's going to make someone snap. You can't be there 24/7, but it feels like maybe there was a bit of lax going on in the monitoring. Junior doctors start another 3-day strike. Thousands of appointments are cancelled. The diagnosis, they say, there is undervalued. Diagnosis for me is you can't ask for 35% in the current economic climate. If you've had a problem with your wages for over a decade, why didn't you kick up a fuss over a decade ago and done it that way? But anyway, that's me rabbiting on. Amazingly, they don't hang around in Italy. The state funeral of Silvio Berlusconi in Italy, and you can see there in the background, them are all his children. I mean, remember, he was 80 odd years old, so plenty of time to sow his seeds. And yeah, he filled a church. Okay, that might not necessarily be true, but it's very similar to what Boris would do, isn't it? Let's be honest. Which takes us to Thursday, because as night follows day, Thursday follows Wednesday, except when it doesn't, which of course is never. Now, if you remember last week, Boris Johnson resigned because he got a preview of a report, which is the conduct of Boris Johnson, and the report was finally published and given to the public, and oh no, Boris tells fibs. Who knew? Oh, it was such a shock. Yeah, as in not really, but still, I would sooner have had Boris in charge like we did over COVID than I would have done if we'd have got Jeremy Corbyn. Imagine that. Oh my God. None of us would be around, I don't think. It would have been horrendous. Anyway, if he'd still been an MP, he would have been given a 90-day suspension from the House of Commons, and no, what was it, 90 days? Yeah, 90 days in the Commons, expelled from the Commons. And that would have been it, really, but he's resigned, which means he doesn't get the 90 days, he just gets the rest of his life expelled from the Commons. So they're on about taking away his privilege as an ex-MP and PM of being able to go into the House of Commons unattended, or whatever they call it, you know, without anyone with you. So they're on about removing that privilege from him. There's not a lot you can do, really, when someone's resigned, but we will wait and see if he does make a comeback, and I hope he does in one way, and I hope he doesn't in another way, because he's a bumbling idiot, but at least we know he's a bumbling idiot, and that's probably half the problem. Imagine dying of it over COVID. The number 11 to 12, yeah, that's how many people died, sadly, 11 to 12. Someone else who's died was Glenda Jackson, aged 87. She was an actress, most famous, for me anyway, as playing Cleopatra in a sketch with Morecambe and Wise in a Christmas special in the 70s, which, to be fair, gets shown a hell of a lot. So you've probably seen it, even if you weren't around in the 1970s. And she just played along, it was brilliant. She also was a Labour politician as well, and was a MP for a good number of years, and appeared on such programmes as Question Time and the like. So yeah, sad, but 80, what was it, 86? 87. Good age, definitely, definitely, and a good life as well. You know, if I live to be 87, I don't think I'll look back on my life and think I've done as much as Glenda Jackson, or many people, to be fair. But anyway, this brings us nicely to Friday. More tragedy. I mean, it's just been a week of horrendousness. Mind you, most weeks are in the news. This boat is a fishing boat that was sailing to Italy from Greece, I think it was, or was it sailing to Greece? Either way, it had loads of migrants on it, families, migrants, not like the boats we have on the channel, which are mainly men trying to pretend they're teenagers. No, this was a boat full of families, illegal migrants trying to get to Europe for a new life, etc., etc., etc. This photograph was taken by the military, who had a look at it, and rumours are, we don't know exactly what happened, but the boat's capsized and hundreds of people are missing. They've found many, many bodies. About 100 people have been saved, but rumours are that this boat was being towed by a Greece Coast Guard when it tipped over, and although we can see a huge number of people, considerably more than what there should be on that boat, on the boat, there are more underneath that you can't see in the hold, in the lower deck, and when that thing rolled over because it capsized, you've got no chance if you're in the lower decks at all. It's horrendous that people feel that that is the only way they can get a better life, and we should make it for people who legitimately have a reason to flee something for their lives, of themselves and the family. We should have easier ways of them doing that without risking their lives on. I mean, look at the state of that thing. I wouldn't go on a bloody park pond in that thing. And oh, it's just so sad that the world has turned to this mess that we've got. And it's not just the UK, it's not just Europe. You've got it in America as well, from Mexico and South America as well, people fleeing. Maybe it's because the internet has gone all over the world now and people think that we're all living the lives of luxury in our countries, and they're living what they thought was a decent life, but they want a better life. And yeah, it's just awful. Really, 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 really tragic and really, really sad. The three people murdered were named, two 19-year-olds and a 61-year-old. He was a gentleman who had the van. The van was then used to run over three more people in Nottingham town centre before the guy was arrested and charged eventually with the three murders and three attempted murders. And you just look at them pictures, happy smiling faces. The two youngsters there, the young lad and the young girl, whole lives ahead of them, both at university, both enjoying life, snuffed out. A gentleman there, more my age, still enjoying life, always smiling apparently for people, always helping out where he can, a family man, all that, again, just snuffed out for no reason whatsoever. Sadly, some people don't get snuffed out. Vladimir Putin, he's saying that the army and economy will be successful despite the military special manoeuvres that are going on. No, special military manoeuvres. I can never know what to call it. Oh yeah, that's it. Illegal invasion. That's what you should call it. Going on in Ukraine. And one hopes he's wrong. One hopes it brings Russia down. I mean, I don't think they've got limitless funds. And if they're being given money and weapons to invade another country by other countries, i.e. Iran, which we're pretty sure that they're getting drones, and certainly China as well, then we should be putting sanctions on these countries like we've done with Putin. Okay, we've given weapons as well, but we've given weapons for people to defend their rightful right to live a peaceful life in their own country. That's what we've given them. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see. I don't know whether you've noticed or not, but the weather's been absolutely scorchio recently. That's due to the weather being hot, and it's been really well, nice and warm, and I love it. I walk home going along canals scaring the people because I'm dressed like these guys here in this pool. Anyway, the first hosepipe bans have been put into place. They're starting next month, I think it is, in Kent and Sussex. So yeah, isn't that exciting, eh? Hosepipe bans. And how much rain have we had in the last 12 months? Okay, I know they haven't had so much down in Kent and Sussex, but I mean up here and in other parts of the UK, it's absolutely pelted down with rain more than half the time. So where's all this water gone? Where, you know, why are we having hosepipe bans, etc.? And why can't we pump water around to areas that don't get as much rain? You walk down the canal in just a bikini. No, like the guys. I walk down like the guys, just in a pair of shorts. I don't walk like in a bikini. I mean, crikey, that would be horrendous. Even I'd feel ill if I saw a reflection of myself in a car. So, not there should be a car on the canal, but you know what I mean. Anyway, yeah, hosepipe bans. They're back and they're here to stay. Yay! So happy. I love I don't even use a hosepipe. It's just the principle of the thing that we are paying these companies lots and lots of money. They are making millions and millions and millions of pounds of profit, and then they can just say, well, actually, we're not very good at our job, so because of that, we're not going to let you water your gardens or whatever. It's just pathetic, and I think we should renationalise all the water boards with immediate effect, and not even pay them anything. They've earned enough money, they've earned enough profits, and they're trying to screw the public to fix the problems that they bought into. And yeah, it's just not right. I'm very, very, very unhappy about the whole thing. Anyway, Saturday come along, and I know that because it's today. The car's in the canal, it's probably my driving. Alright, okay. It's let's say we've all done it, but I've not been in the canal in a car. Anyway, normally Saturday is a very quiet day for news. But no, Mr. Wilkes. Today is not a quiet day for news. You'll be pleased to hear that the teachers are now saying that they want to go on strike again for 2 days in July. I think it's the 5th and the 7th of July or something like that. And there's a less there. The less we earn, the less they learn. I mean, if a teacher's writing that and that's their writing, I don't think there should be teachers, and I think we should not pay teachers anything. 40 people have been killed in Uganda by people from the Republic of Congo. Only breaking news. Not exactly sure what's happened, but people have been kidnapped and taken back as well. I know there's a lot of cross-border rivalry in Central Africa, but this just seems hilarious. Not hilarious. The complete opposite. Horrendous. And hopefully we'll find out more of what's going on, and hopefully it'll be resolved during the course of the next week, because you know, you just can't do that. They should strike in August. Then we had the gentleman who was charged with the 3 murders in Nottingham. He's in court today on a Saturday. That's how important it is. Didn't put any pleas in or anything, but he's been formally charged and has appeared in court, and no doubt there will be a proper trial at some point in the near future. And King Charles, my favourite type of dog, has been doing the Trooping of the Colour, which is marking his birthday, which is nice for him. He rode a horse, which, to be fair, is the first time a monarch has ridden a horse for about 30 years. And bearing in mind the Queen was 90 odd when she died, that means the last time she rode a horse she'd be 60 odd. And he's older than that, he's like 70 odd. So there you go. It's all good, isn't it? It's all good in thud. But he does, I mean, an old guy wearing a hat like that in this weather, with all the refinery in the uniform, and sitting in it for a good couple of hours, one can only assume that they had ice packs or something on them as well. And also as well, you notice that big black collar thing that he's got over there. My finger's gone, but the big black collar thing he's got there, I reckon that was for him to pee in as well, because let's be honest, when you're nearly 80, I'm sure you can't hold your pee that much. So yeah, well done Charles for holding it in. Although the arse might be a little bit naffed off. But one thing that was impressive, and the RAF never disappoint, was the fly past and the Charles Regina typhoon thing, which I found very impressive. Apparently 18, and I'm like, there's not 18 there. Then I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and wow, there's 18 there. So how many £1 million worth of planes are there? The £20 million each, or whatever it is. Or they were secretly trying to help us get a new king? Yeah, that is a possibility, definitely. But anyway, that was it for the week's news. Like I said, there was a lot of news, but a lot of it was just expanding on the main stories, which was Trump and Boris, and obviously what was going on in Nottingham as well. We'll see next week what has occurred then. Meanwhile, la 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 in America, we're going to America. What's going on in America? Let's have a look at the news from America. Boom. Oh, got your nose. That's not good. I keep sneezing as well, which is also not good. But anyway, just bear with me. All right, okay, we are there. Right then. Let's just make that a bit smaller. There we go. That's better, isn't it? Better. Okay then. So this guy here, Randy Cox, was paralysed in a police van, and he's reached a $45 million settlement with New Haven, Connecticut police. He was paralysed while being transported handcuffed and without a seatbelt in the back of a police van following his arrest last year, the city's mayor and attorney said on Saturday. The agreement was reached on Friday evening following a day-long conference with a federal magistrate. Hello, oh crap, I'm sorry, I was playing Tribe. Sorry, me bad. Hi, Elder. Hope Mum's well. No, she's better than she was. Smile about Angela. Angela, hi, Smiley. Hi, Deno. Yeah, excellent. Well done. So, yeah, we're in America. First one of America, so your favourite bit. You've timed it right. Federal regulators promise reports on all major freight railroads after disasters around the US. As we've said many times before, America's rail network is not fit for purpose. I know it's massive, but you need to keep on top of repairs and things. They've had too many derailments with a lot of toxic chemicals. After initially crying inaccurate, Biden administration confirms China has had a spy base in Cuba since at least 2019. So, well, to be fair, I mean, you can forgive Biden for getting something that happened in 2019. He forgets where he is and what he's talking about when he's just started his speech. But China has been operating a spy base in Cuba since at least 2019, part of global effort by Beijing to upgrade its intelligence gathering capabilities. Yeah, it's like, and you're not telling me that America hasn't got listening posts and things like that in good old, well, looking into China. Dozens of pigs run loose on Minnesota highway after a truck overturns. It takes the cops 4 hours to corral them all back together again. This is what? This ham on the lamb. Must be an American term, I don't get that. Dozens of hogs ran loose on a Minnesota highway Friday after the semi-truck transporting them tipped over. The rig, which was carrying 50 hogs, overturned just after 7:30 a.m. while travelling on the interstate near Little Canada. And yeah, it took them 4 hours to get 50 pigs back. Sounds at the moment it's just passed out on the windowsill, looking very forlorn. The tilt of San Francisco's Millennium Tower has deepened as engineers work to reverse the lean. Basically, they're trying to replace the Leaning Tower of Pizza by having the Leaning Tower of San Francisco. Not. The Leaning Tower of San Francisco, the Bay Area's Millennium Tower, has only continued to tilt further and sink deeper, in spite of architects' best efforts to steady the ritzy building. The multi-million-dollar per unit tower is now leaning more than 29 inches at the corner, which, yeah, I mean, they're designed to withstand earthquakes, so I suppose a lean of 29 inches isn't actually that bad, but it's still not brilliant. I mean, there are some. I'm not a violent man. I'm certainly not when it comes to children, but there are some people you see a picture of and you just think they're going to get so bullied. A 14-year-old whiz kid about to graduate college, already hired at SpaceX. A precocious, yeah, that's one way of putting it. 14-year-old boy from the. I think precocious means something different in America. I think they mean intelligence, but over here it's you're a precocious brat. Anyway. In the Bay Area will be the youngest ever graduate from Santa Clara University next week before starting a new job at SpaceX. Kieran Kwasi can't drive, vote, or even see an R-rated movie, but on Saturday he will receive his degree in computer science and engineering that's landed him a job at Elon Musk's spacecraft manufacturing company. It's quite scary that they've got a kid designing a rocket. Because when I was 14, if I designed a rocket, it looked like a 5-year-old had done it. It's just basically a traditional round washing up liquid bottle with a bit of toilet roll holder cut into triangles stuck on it and then just thrown up in the air. And that would be my rocket at 14. New York extends 60-day PPE stockpile despite end of COVID-19 pandemic. New York hospitals and nursing homes will be required to continue maintaining a 60-day emergency stockpile of personal protective equipment despite authorities declaring the COVID-19 emergency over. To be fair, that's the problem that we had, and I've said this before. When the pandemic came along, no one had PPE because PPE has a shelf life. So no one had, loads and loads of PPE, and the manufacturers were making the same amount they'd made for decades. Everyone was in a, you get your PPE when you need it, you don't need a lot, but we get regular deliveries, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, shoot, we all need PPE, we need shit tons of it. And the manufacturers couldn't do it. So that's where, not just in Britain, but in other countries around the world, money went straight to people who said, we can give you PPE, and then they never did, and all that kind of stuff. But the other side of the coin is, can you imagine if someone like the Daily Mail had found out that the UK government in 2018 had a warehouse or 2 warehouses or 3 warehouses full to the brim of PPE, just in case? They'd have been tore apart for it, wasting all this money, blah, 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 blah. So you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So the 60-day one seems to be a good idea because that gives you 60 days of PPE, because you rotate it, so it's not like it just sits there for 60 days and gets thrown out. No, it'll start at the back of the warehouse and work its way forward and then go out within the 60 days because it gets used pretty quickly once it's out. But you've got 60 days worth there. So if you double up what you need, you've still got 30 days there, which is a month. A month gives you time to then source legitimately PPE from companies that can be trusted and trustworthy. Or am I just being too sensible? Oh God, I hate myself sometimes for being so sensible. 3 dead in Russian attack on boats, vacating flooding as counter-attack underway. 3 people were killed and 10 others were wounded when Russian forces attacked a boat carrying evacuees away from flooding caused by the destruction of a Ukrainian dam. I mean, when you think the Russians can't get any worse, they get worse. I mean, again, I'm not a violent man, but we have a big red button, don't we? At least 13 people shot, stabbed or hit by cars at Syracuse, New York gathering. At least 13 people were shot, stabbed or struck by fleeing cars at a massive street gathering in Syracuse early on Sunday. Hundreds of people were gathered in the city's west side when gunfire rang out at 12:22 a.m. Syracuse police spokesman Matthew Milwaukee said when cops arrived they discovered 13 people had been shot, stabbed or hit by vehicles. That's you've got to guess. It could be a quiz, couldn't it? Shot, stabbed or hit by a vehicle, and you just see a picture of the face and the grimace and you've got to figure out which one it is. No, maybe not. Anyway, Philadelphia 119 overpass collapses from a tanker blaze. A section of the I-19 or I-19 collapsed in Philadelphia on Sunday morning after a tanker truck burst into flames, police said. The massive smoky blaze broke out around 6:30 a.m. on Cotterman Avenue, right beneath an interstate, parts of which were reduced to rubble as the stretch of the major highway collapsed. One of the local guys said, "Today's going to be a long day." No, it's going to be longer than a day. Sadly, someone did pass away underneath the bridge at the time, but it gave me a flashback to, it's years ago now. And I was driving on the M6 southbound, and I was going through Spaghetti Junction, and as I was coming up to Spaghetti Junction, I could see all this black smoke, and there was a massive amount of black smoke coming up, and I'm like, like you do, something on fire there. And all the cars ahead of me started slowing down, so I thought, it must be something on the motorway that's on fire. Maybe, you get cars that catch fire, don't you, that kind of thing. So we all slowed down. We went from 70 to 60 to 50, and we got nearer and nearer to the smoke. But because you're high up, and the motorway kind of turns and twists because it's Spaghetti Junction, it's called that for a reason, couldn't figure out exactly where this fire was. Turned out it wasn't on the motorway, but it was on a slip road. Well, rather underneath a slip road. And a tanker carrying what looked like, definitely flammable material, probably petrol, had hit the stanchion holding up this section of the slip road. I think it was off the M5 going southbound onto the M6. And it was burning away, and the fire was actually in the concrete as well. And I'm like, whoa. And you could feel the heat, even though we were quite a way away. Anyway, we carried on, and when I came back, it was night time, but there was no fire, no nothing, so one assumed that, they put the fire out and cleared up. But I knew there'd been substantial damage to the concrete, because concrete is strong, etc. But prolonged heat does make it break up and crumble. A few weeks later, a few months later, I went down and I had a look at where I thought this crash had been, and the entire column that this truck had hit was brand new shiny concrete. It had been completely replaced, and that when I saw this, it reminded me of that. Very similarly, very similarly. No, it's the concrete, not the tarmac, dengue outbreak in Peru reaches over 130,000 cases with 200 dead, heightened by El Nino rains. Peru's worst dengue outbreak on record could intensify further as an El Nino climate phenomenon brings torrential rains and mosquitoes, driving the death toll this year past 200, with over 130 recorded cases, the health ministry said. Dengue fever is a mosquito-borne tropical disease that can provoke a high fever, headache, vomiting and muscle spasms. We're not going to get it over here, you can't catch it, but it is horrible for over there. A vehicle trapped in rubble of Philadelphia I-95 collapse. Officials warn it will take some months to repair the overpass. You can see there on that picture, much clearer, the amount of damage that has been caused by it. At least one of the vehicles remained trapped under the tons of rubble from the collapse of the stretch in Philadelphia on Sunday, as officials warned it will take some number of months to rebuild the destroyed overpass. I suppose the M6 one, they were lucky that it didn't actually bring down the flyover. Dengue, yeah, it's a horrible nasty fever thing, but it's only from mosquitoes, so until we get mosquitoes here on a regular basis, we should be fine. So, it's silence. Silence, you're on the... No, she's passed out. San Francisco airport adds first cat to roster of therapy animals. I mean, that cat, normally cats look really naffed off when you dress them up. That cat looks as proud as punch with its little hat on, its little lapels and everything, its little tie. It's like, yeah, look at me. Yeah, I'm bossing it. A once stray cat rescued from a shelter and adopted by a loving family is now helping humans at California airport. Duke Ellington Morris, a 14-year-old black and white cat, became the first feline to join the San Francisco International Airport's team of therapy animals now known as the Wag Brigade. Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? It's the cutest cat we've had this year, I think, that one. Obviously, excluding Silence, that goes without saying. Yeah. Neighbour arrested after Maryland home shooting leaves 3 dead and 3 wounded. A neighbour has been arrested in connection with a shooting that killed 3 victims and left 3 others wounded at a home in a quiet neighbourhood of Annapolis, Maryland, according to a local report. The suspect is identified as a 45-year-old and he lives in the same street where the shooting unfolded. But again, people have arguments all the time with your neighbours. But in America, if it's not going your way, you just shoot them. It's so frustrating. Roy Disney's granddaughter says he's spinning in his grave over Nazi display outside Disney World. He probably isn't, to be fair. Unless it's one of them animatronic things that they do. Where they put him on like a spit roast and you press a button if you get upset, so he's literally spinning in his grave. It's probably not. Roy Disney Sr., who co-founded the namesake entertainment giant with his brother Walt Disney, is spinning in his grave over a group of Nazi demonstrators who flew a giant swastika flag outside Disney World on Saturday, according to his granddaughter. Abigail Disney, appalled by the hateful display, tweeted that her late grandfather would also be revolted and spinning in his grave. Marty, welcome. Just talking about people spinning in the graves, as we do. Lava flow from Mayo volcano in the Philippines as thousands flee to safety. What was that, Silence? That was... You're supposed to be delicate, you're a cat. Sound like a sack of spuds has just been chucked down the stairs. Thousands of people have evacuated regions surrounding the Mayon volcano in the Philippines as the mountain continues to spew lava and show increasing signs of unrest. According to the Smithsonian Global Volcanism Program, the Mayon volcano, located near Leipzig, near Leipzig, Legazpi city in the province of Albi, is the most active volcano in the Philippines. So not really surprised. And why would you build a city next to a most active volcano in the world? I don't know. Anyway, Russian tourist body parts recovered from the stomach of a clubbed shark that ate him alive. The body parts of a Russian tourist who was videotaped being eaten alive by a shark were recovered from inside the predator's belly after it was clubbed to death by beachgoers. It's horrendous what's happened, but then they go and club the thing to death. It's not its fault that it's at a human. It's in its space, so we go and kill it anyway. Mother of a 6-year-old who shot teacher pleads guilty to using marijuana while having a firearm. The mother of a... I thought it said redneck strong then. I was going to say, Jesus Christ. A mother of a 6-year-old boy who shot his teacher in Virginia pleaded guilty to federal court on Monday to using marijuana while possessing a firearm, which is illegal under US law. It is a crime under federal law that's facing increasing scrutiny as more states legalise the drug. It's absolutely horrendous. But marijuana or no marijuana, you shouldn't have a gun anywhere near where a child can get it. And then sneak it out of the house, and then sneak it into a school, and then in the afternoon, having had it all day, then shoot a teacher in the face. New York City office occupancy rate reaches 50% following COVID-19. The glass half empty or half full, depending on who you talk to. The number of office key cards used in the Big Apple last week crossed the 50% threshold for the first time since the coronavirus struck more than 3 years ago, after weeks of it being stuck in the 40s. Data collected by an office security firm shows the uptick amid the soot-laden smoke shrouding from Canadian wildfires. So yeah, people are working from home. That shows that 50% of Americans are working from home. So why do we need all these offers? Why do you want to live in a city? when if you work from home, you can live anywhere on the planet as long as you've got an internet connection, and then commuting on a random basis as and when needed. That is the way forward. Plan to repair collapsed I-95 overpass will fix nightmare traffic delays in Philly. So not only are they going to fix it, but they're going to make it better. Drivers are fuming over the nightmarish traffic delays caused by the collapse of Interstate 95 overpass in Philadelphia, and it may soon get some relief. Yeah, obviously, if half of your major road disappears, it's going to be everyone works from home. Good afternoon. You're not working from home, Jay Morris, in America, are you? Nice to see you again. Why don't they use the offices for the homeless? Get them working. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Anyway, they're going to sort out that interstate bridge, but it's going to take a while. Now, I did try and avoid him, folks, honest, but Prince Harry, he's back. Prince Harry scores a victory in the fight over whether he admitted drug use on immigration papers. Now, if you want to move to America and you've been convicted of handling or using drugs, you won't be allowed in. Period. Full stop. Zip. Nothing. Let alone actually living there. But Prince Harry moved there, and then he wrote a book saying he'd done all these drugs, including a bit of green, I snip if you're watching, and cocaine and various other bits and pieces as well. As I would imagine many people who go to university and have got lots of money do. But he didn't declare it, apparently, when he went over to America. So there are some people saying he should be in America because he's admitted to using drugs in a very public way. And we're letting him in, yet other people are not allowed in. So that's not fair. One rule for one rule, blah, blah, blah. Well, anyway, the Department of Homeland Security has officially denied a think tank's request to release immigration documents for Prince Harry to find out whether he declared his drug use to officials before coming to live in the US. Harry's revelations of taking psychedelic mushrooms, cocaine and marijuana were detailed in his self-serving book Spare, published in January. Sure up, Harry. When the lady in Lee the other night asked Liz Trust about Ginge. You lost me on that one. But anyway. Oh right, yeah, Ginger's in Harry. Yeah, I'm with you. Sorry, I'm with you again. I'm back. I'm back in the room. Bus 666 to Hell, Poland, changed its number after complaints from Christian groups. I mean, come on, for God's sake. One, buses have to have numbers, and if you've got a lot of buses, you do eventually have to use the number 666. Two, it's going to hell. There's a bit of irony and a bit of fun in that. It's like a joke. It's amusing. It's not anti-Christian. It's not saying that God is horrendous and horrible and blah blah blah. It's taking the mickey out of itself. Anyway, some say the road to hell is paved with good intentions, but the bus that gets you there certainly isn't. That's according to some conservative Christian groups who say the 666 bus to hell, Poland, has devilish intentions since its route number represents Satan and it goes to a place that sounds like hell. It's not hell, it sounds like hell. That's good enough for me. The local bus operator has responded to the complaints by announcing a decision to change the number. I wouldn't have given up, I'd have kept it. And to be fair, I would have branded all the side of my buses with flames and horns and all that kind of stuff as well. It's... some people just need to lighten up. We should go to hell instead of hell, yes. Where's the bus gone? I've lost the bus. Oh, there's smack you in the face, kid. There he is. There's the bus. Desperate Russian soldier surrenders to drone on Bakhmut's battlefield. A Russian soldier, desperate to survive after Ukrainian drones took out his entire unit, used hand signals to surrender before he was guided across enemy lines by the same drones that used explosives to kill his comrades. The 30-year-old was the sole survivor of his platoon near the eastern city of Bakhmut when drone and mortar attacks took when drone and mortar attacks persisted for hours. That doesn't make sense. But anyway, yeah, I would surrender to a drone as well. I'll be honest with you. This technology, not an American one though, obviously, because it would just shoot me anyway. Trump winced a happy birthday serenade because he hates calling attention to turning 77. Some birthday former President Donald Trump winced as supporters singing happy birthday, not because of his historic legal wars, but because he's embarrassed at turning 77 on Wednesday. Yeah, turning 77 means you haven't died yet. That's something to celebrate, isn't it? You know, not many, well, more people than used to get that age, but not everyone. 32 migrants dead, more than 100 rescued after fishing vessel capsizes near Greece. We talked about that earlier. That was when the news was breaking. Obviously, it got more and more tragic after that. Washington's teen shot dead while watching Transformers in a movie theatre. The AMC as well. Didn't know AMC was still going. A teen was shot and killed while he watched Transformers Rise of the Beasts inside a Washington theatre on Tuesday night, according to reports. This had happened about 90 minutes past 12 when Kent police were called to report of a shooting inside the AMC theatre in Kent, roughly 20 miles outside of Seattle. The 19-year-old victim had suffered an obvious wound to his chest. Again, absolutely horrendous. Funny part of that Trump story is that he was at a restaurant with his supporters. He shouted, "Food for everyone." Everyone thought he was buying. But he left and didn't pay for anything. Yeah, that was on, I think, Have I Got News for Yous. That's Howard Donald. I think more would celebrate if he didn't make it to 77. A teacher who was shot by a 6-year-old student in Virginia has resigned, school officials have said. The first grade teacher who was shot by a 6-year-old student in Virginia has resigned from her position, school officials said, more than 2 months after she sued the district for $40 million. The last day of Avizuena's contract was Monday, and the district said that she had notified Human Resources in March that she wouldn't be returning to the next school year. Now, I can't imagine why someone who's been shot in the face by a 6-year-old in your class would ever want to go back to work again. Why would you not want to go back to work and do the same job? I mean, you know. A Las Vegas UFO mystery. Police put up surveillance cameras at house where aliens landed. And you're like, really? Even the skeptical ex-cop who broke the story of the mysterious object that allegedly fell from the skies above Las Vegas just after midnight was the first to be interviewed. First to interview the family who claimed to see tall alien creatures with big eyes. And he's sure it isn't absolutely... Well, he isn't absolutely sure it isn't a hoax, but he's not absolutely sure it is a hoax. What puzzles him is why the Homeland Security Department of Las Vegas installed video cameras around the entire property. Maybe because they think that these people are completely bonkers and insane and need monitoring. Canadian girl 9 verbally attacked, accused of being transgender at a track meet. A 9-year-old Canadian girl was verbally attacked and accused of being transgender at a school track and field event last week. The young girl was left visibly shaking and sobbing after the grandfather of another student interrupted a shot put event by yelling at her and accusing her of being transgender during a track and field meet at the for elementary students. Yeah, Grandad. Way to go, Grandad. I mean, I'm a granddad. I wouldn't come out with stuff like that. Yeah. Let's pick on kids, shall we? A Turkish man knocked down basement wall to find 2,000-year-old underground city after chasing his chickens through a hole. Oh, it's like something out of Indiana Jones, isn't it? A Turkish homeowner chasing his chickens through a hole in his basement. Why would you have chickens in the basement? There's so many questions. During renovations, came across an abandoned underground Turkish city that once housed 20,000 people. In an effort to recapture his escaping poultry, the unidentified man knocked down the wall of his 1960s apartment building and he found it. That's not supposed to happen to our friendly neighbour in the north. Exactly. You expect it in Texas, but you wouldn't expect it in Canada. De Blasio finally comes clean on infamous fatal Staten Island groundhog drop. Now, I have no idea what the infamous Staten Island groundhog drop is, other than there's a picture there of a woman and what looks like a groundhog towards the edge, or above the word clean, falling to its death, one would assume. But the reason I put this up is because that woman looks remarkably like Sally Webster off Coronation Street, and I thought, what are America doing covering Coronation Street? Yeah, it turns out they're not. They're having this story, and this woman looks remarkably like Sally Webster off Coronation Street. I thought maybe she was signing up to play cricket or something like that. She looks like she could bat a ball. Anyway, hiya Deno's mum. Hope you're good. Hope you're well. Naked creep busted having passionate sex with a tree in a busy UK park. It's got to be said, us Brits know how to entertain ourselves with inanimate objects. I made a reference recently to a postbox in Wigan that was passionately treated by a gentleman many years ago who sadly passed since then. But here we go. He branched out from the bedroom. A naked creep was arrested for allegedly kissing and caressing and having passionate sex with a tree in a popular public park in England, grossing out onlookers and baffling police. The nature freak was caught on camera peeling off his clothes and rubbing passionately against the stump of a conifer in Wiltshire Queen Elizabeth Gardens. I mean, it's quite a big stump, to be fair. Oh dear God. Yeah, anyway, what we got? Aha, Sally. He looks truly happy. Oh, very good. Hi, Dina's mum. Hope you're well, sweetie. Listening along with me, she sends a wave. Oh, I'll wave back. Double wave. But yeah, now weirdly, it's not illegal to be naked in public in the United Kingdom. Obviously, it's frowned upon, but it's not illegal as long as you're not doing anything that could be suggestive in any way. If you get my my standing on this issue. And but yeah, obviously that was a bit too far, so he got arrested for that. And I'd be worried about splinters, no matter anything else. And also, when a stump's bigger than stump, then you're like, well, yeah, it makes me feel inadequate. Where are we? Where's the tree guy gone? He's vanished. Oh, there he is. It's all right. Found him. Gross, yeah. Doctors in Sri Lanka removed world's biggest kidney stone. I mean, it looks like it genuinely looks like a potato. Potato. Doctors in Sri Lanka set a new Guinness World Record when they removed the world's largest kidney stone from a retired soldier early this month. The 1.76 pound growth was surgically removed from the former sergeant's Christius Kunaj, 62, at the Columbia Army Hospital, the Sri Lankan Army said. The kidney stone measured 5.264 inches, or roughly the size of a grapefruit. The stone has since been formally added to the Guinness World Records as the biggest and heaviest kidney stone ever recorded. Can you imagine trying to pass that? You would need a stump not dissimilar to the stump that the guy was being very happy with earlier. Russia will lose war if Ukraine's counteroffensive succeeds, Zelensky says. Well, he's going to say that, isn't he? Because he's the one leading the counteroffensive. Again, you know, propaganda, etc. But Russia will lose the Ukrainian war if Kyiv's newly launched counteroffensive aimed at breaking through Moscow's defences is successful. So says President Volodymyr Zelensky. Chief Foreign Correspondent Richard Eagle of NBC News was told that the Ukrainian leader believes that if Vladimir Putin's troops are routed and the pushback, Russia will lose the entire war. And let's hope they do. But again, like I've said before, anything that Zelensky or America or Britain says about the war, we take with a pinch of salt. Anything Russia says, we take with a truckload of salt. And anything China says, we take with a salt mine. That's roughly how I work it out. These are not the kidney stones. Look a bit like the kidney stones. A deceased female reported at residence, actually a dismembered doll. Harris County Sheriff Ed Gorensales said that upon closer inspection, the discovery was not a deceased body. Authorities in Texas made a strange discovery when they were called to a residence in Harris County after a body was discovered on the premises. The Harris County Sheriff's Office responded, and yeah, it was a retired, slightly dismembered toy for adults. Maybe they could have sent it to England and our tree hogger could have got some more use from it. I thought I was going to die. Driver opens up about terrifying Dukes of Hazzard style crash. Now, if you watched last week, you'll remember this. Basically, we can see there the red truck parked up with its ramp down, ready to take a broken down car. And this woman, although we didn't know it at the time, drove a car up the ramp through the cab of the truck. It flew through the air like Dukes of Hazzard, and then like Dukes of Hazzard in real life, it landed awkwardly and rolled over a few times, whereas in Dukes of Hazzard on the telly, it landed perfectly, and Knight Rider, and every other American TV show, it landed perfectly and carried on, as if nothing had happened. The woman who was captured on the video flying through the air in Georgia said she feared she was going to die and hasn't been able to have any shut-eye without being haunted by nightmares of the horrific ordeal. I don't remember much, but I thought I was going to die. Tanushila Bruton, 21, told the news channel. But she's living a fame, isn't she? Look at that. Let me just pout for you there. Do you want to pout again? I can pout again. I like pouting. I'm a good pouter. Blooded Ecuadorian pilot keeps cool after a giant bird slams into the cockpit. The pilot couldn't be ruffled. Terrifying video caught an Ecuadorian aviator, Ariel Valentin. I mean, talk about a perfect name for being a pilot, Ariel. Keeping his cool after a massive bird smashed into his cockpit. The bird is seen dangling in front of him as he holds the stick before turning the camera to show his bloody face and his hair filter mask hanging onto the side. I've seen the video from the front as it comes through, and it literally, obviously you're flying a plane, you ain't doing 20 mile an hour when you're flying a plane, and it's not like a jumbo jet or anything like that, because obviously those are terrifically reinforced windscreens because of the speed, the altitude and everything else. This is like more of a Cessna style plane. So it just smashed through the window and covered the guy in blood. He's lucky it didn't actually hit him in directly, because if it had done it, it'd have killed him. You get hit in the face by a bird at 200, 300 miles an hour. No matter what equipment you've got on, you ain't getting out of that one. So he's a very lucky man, and a very cool man as well. Orange smog could blanket New York again as wildfires rage on. New York could be plagued with a second wave of thick orange smoke as hundreds of out-of-control wildfires ravage parts of Canada. I believe though that the rains are coming to Canada, like they're coming here as well, so hopefully that will sort out all that pollution and put the fires out, because these fires are adding to the global warming, and then they become, the self-propels itself then, doesn't it? It just kind of gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, a bit like a snowball going down a hill. BLM supporter plunges to new law. No, start that again, shall we? BLM support plunges to new law. Majority think it has not helped black people's lives. Really? You are kidding? Really? You mean absolutely enough the entire world, over and over and over again, and just going on and on and on about Black Lives Mattering and all that kind of stuff, has not made people think that maybe black lives don't matter as much. I'm not saying they do or don't, but I'm saying there's ways of doing this, just like there is for all this Stop Oil stuff. All you do is you rub people up the wrong way, and the people who are just getting on with their lives don't need the hassle, because no doubt there's a lot of people who've been told, oh, you lot with your BLM, and all that, yeah, blah 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 blah, and these people have got nothing to do with it. Like all these people going on about trans rights and all that kind of stuff. The majority of trans people would sooner have a quiet life, live the life they want to live without all this attention, because everyone gets dragged in and tarred with the same brush. It's just, yeah, I think it's about time that we just treat everyone equally, and we don't necessarily go too far another way. You know, if someone's applying for a job and 3 people apply for the job, one's disabled, one's black, one's gay, whatever, trans, doesn't matter. You don't pick them because of an issue like that. You pick them because of their ability to do the job. And if they're the best person to do the job, regardless of what they are, even aliens, for God's sake, if they can do the job, and you think they're going to be reliable and all that, then you take that person on. If you're only taking people on for the sake of taking people on because you want to tick a box, like advertisements on the telly are doing at the minute, every family is a mixed race family now on the telly, on adverts. Not every, but majority of them. Now I've pointed this out, you'll notice this. A mixed race family, so that the kids are mum and dad are not always from the same race. Don't have an issue with that as such, but every single advertisement seems to do that now. It'd be better if we had, like we did with the chicken adverts, although maybe chicken was the wrong thing, but all black family, or all Asian family, or all white family, or all European family, or whatever, as well as the occasional mixed race family, because that's what society is. It's like people are doing things now just to tick boxes so they don't offend people. And I just don't understand how we can run the world without offending someone. You cannot keep all the people happy all the time. I'll go back to this thing a couple of years ago when there was this student in Manchester University who called on everyone to stop clapping because at performances and concerts and other events, sporting events and things like that, don't clap, because there are people who are very nervous, and some noise like clapping would could upset them and trigger them, and we shouldn't do it. What we should do instead is jazz hands. So when you've seen I don't know, Sam Fender at his concert, instead of going, "Yay, well done, Sam, well done," you go like that, because that's what we're meant to do, so we don't frighten people. So this interviewer said to this woman, he said, "So you're trying to include everyone so they can go to these events and things like that?" And she went, yeah, we're trying to include everyone." And he said, "Well, what about blind people?" And she went, "Sorry?" He said, "What about blind people? If you're doing jazz hands, blind people can't see that." Her face, absolutely horrified. I dare say she may have needed to change her underwear. I think a little bit of wee might have come out. And you're like, this is the problem. You cannot please everyone. No matter what you do, you can't please everyone. Someone is going to get upset by something. Keir Starmer is another prime example of a wet lettuce. He comes in with all these things that he's going to do when he gets voted as the opposition leader, the leader of the Labour Party. And I mean, I've not really looked at it, but I've seen many times people say that every single one of them issues he's changed his mind on. And the reason for that is he's upset someone who didn't agree with that issue, so he wants to get them on side. But the people who do agree with that issue, he's now upset. So what's he going to do? Just flip backwards and forwards from one to the other all the time? You can't do that. You've got to make a choice that is for the majority of people will get the benefit for, and the majority of people believe. We can't live our lives being told what to do by less than 5% of the population because they've now got a voice, because they feel victimised for whatever reason. We've got to run the country and the planet for the majority of people and respect everyone on the planet as well. That's the only way we're going to get out of this. Otherwise, humanity is going to disappear up its own wokeness. You know, you won't be able to have babies in the traditional way in the future because you might offend someone by making them pregnant, or you could offend someone by putting some substance inside them, or you could offend someone by having a part of their body encased by a part of someone else's. But where do we go with this? Where do we stop? Where do we say, right, enough is enough? We've passed that. We've passed that a long while ago. We need to treat everyone the same. We need to treat everyone equally, regardless of any opinions they have, of any beliefs they have. It doesn't matter where they come from in the world. We've got to treat everyone the same. And if the whole world did that, it'd be a better place. And we probably wouldn't have all this migrant problem going on either. But anyway, that's a story for another day. Sorry, that was a mini rant. Not a proper rant, because I didn't raise my voice. But I never do anyway. Greece finds no more survivors after sinking of migrant boat. Hundreds still feared missing. Yeah, you're right, Dino. Keir Starmer, he is sat on the fence. It must hurt his bottom. Greece finds no more survivors after sinking a migrant boat. Hundreds still feared missing. Rescue workers transferred the bodies of dead migrants to refrigerated trucks as major search continued Thursday for possible survivors of a sea disaster in southern Greece. Hundreds of people are still feared missing. At least 78 bodies have been recovered after a fishing boat crammed with migrants seeking to make it from Libya to Italy capsized and sank a day earlier in deep water off the Greek coast. It's horrendous what is going on, what people are putting themselves through to try and get a better life, which should make life better for everyone. Severe thunderstorms erupt in New York City, DC and Philadelphia. The rain and storms aren't just happening across the south this week. Severe weather will cap off the work week in the northeast and mid-Atlantic, including New York City, Washington DC, Baltimore, Philadelphia. Now you've got to remember that whatever America gets, particularly the East Coast, we generally get a few days later. So this may well be what we're getting tomorrow. The forecast for the weather tomorrow isn't great. It's not storms, but it is a considerable amount of rain, which will have travelled over the Atlantic. Andrew Tate served legal papers by 4 UK accusers, including one he allegedly texted, "I love you." Andrew Tate has been served legal papers by 4 UK women accused him of sex attacks, including one who claims to have had a disgusting text. I mean, this guy, again, this is what I've been on about. We are giving people the power to influence people when these people probably don't have the capacity to wipe their own bottoms when they've been for a poo. I mean, I just don't get why we've got into a situation like this. He says, being a minor influencer himself. But I don't ram things down people's throats. I'll leave that to ex-TV presenters. No, it's just bizarre where we are at the minute with everything. It really is. Anyway, Australia, only 2 from Australia this week. That's mainly because for some reason the Australian news thing hasn't been working very well for me. But tragedy is one of them. Multiple people are dead and more than 10 have been injured after a bus crash in New South Wales. Emergency services were called to the roundabout on Wine County Drive near the Hunter Expressway after reports a coach had rolled. The vehicle is believed to have been transporting guests who had just attended a wedding. The stories developed from there. More people have passed away. There were many more than 10 injured. This was breaking news. And the bus driver was arrested and has possibly been charged, although I don't know yet, we'll find out soon, with possible manslaughter or the equivalent. Family and friends have today gathered to pay a fond farewell to the 95-year-old great-grandmother, Claire Nowland, who was tasered by police at her care home in New South Wales Snowy Mountains in May. The mother of 8 died a week after she was tasered inside a nursing home by a police officer who will face court next month, and rightly so. If you remember the story, I did report this, a 95-year-old with some mental health issues, was holding a knife inside the lounge area of the care home where she was living, nursing home, and the police came in. Well, I imagine would be a lot younger than 95 and probably a lot stronger as well, and I would imagine be a lot quicker at moving, i.e. they could have easily overpowered a 95-year-old woman with a knife. Easy. What did they do? They tasered her, and the poor woman died a week later. Mainly because when you get tasered, you just kind of go poof and you fall, and she smashed her head, and obviously being 95, her skull isn't the strongest, and she died from her injuries. The police officer is facing charges, and I will be covering that, and I hope to God he gets very similar to what the police officer who sat on the neck of the guy in America last year got, i.e. a very long prison sentence, because that's what they deserve. What were they thinking to do that to a lady of that age? Well, anyone over the age of 70, I would have thought, would be. You don't taser a pensioner. She's nearly 100 years old. I mean, she's not a ninja. It's very unlikely that if they'd have gone to her, she'd have been able to hurt them. Or just stand there. She stood up, just stand there and wait for her to get tired and put the knife down. I mean, there are ways of dealing with it rather than getting you. I suppose in America they'd have just shot her in the head, but in this case they tasered her, and it's just ridiculous. We always talk about the police, not behaving correctly in different places, but I mean Australia normally we don't mention the police, but that is, I know it's one individual, but that is still absolutely awful. Anyway, we're now up to the and finally bit, and there's quite a few of these. These are basically stories that have made me either laugh or think, ooh, or really? From the last week. And some of these are bizarre. There's also things that are just not a story, they just make me smile. We've got time travel involved in this, as you'll be finding out soon. Time travel does exist. There's absolute proof. See? Proof that time travel does exist. iPhone spotted in a 350-year-old art that stumped Apple CEO. So that woman there's got an Apple phone. No, she hasn't. She's probably got the equivalent of a donkey stone or something like that, that you clean things with, or it's a bar of soap. It is not, by any stretch of the imagination, time travel. Miracle Mum survived being struck by lightning indoors in front of her 6 kids. I don't know why in front of her 6 kids got anything to do with it, but being struck by lightning indoors. Kimberly Crone was struck in the chest by a lightning strike and spent 3 days in hospital. She now claims she can sense when a storm is coming as part of a life-changing incident. Yeah, I can sense when a storm is coming. I look out the window or I watch the weather report. I don't need to be struck by lightning. Have I got news for you? Manchester City welcomed home by fans after winning the treble. A truly inspirational story, proving anything is possible with endless self-belief, months of hard work, and billions of pounds worth of oil money. Yeah, do you think someone at I Got News For You isn't a Man City fan? I mean, I'm not saying he's wrong, but they, I'm not saying they're wrong. Reaction as British gas owners say profits will be significantly higher, but not because of record prices. So your profits will be higher, but it's nothing to do with your price hikes. Now, I've said this before as well. I didn't have an issue with the price of gas per unit going up, or electricity made by gas or coal or whatever going up, because the price of gas and coal and oil has gone up around the world. So obviously we're going to have to pay more for that. I don't agree with it 100%, but I get where that's coming from. I understand that bit. What I don't understand is why the standing charge has gone up as well. Now, the standing charge is the number of pence you pay per day for the ability to turn on switch a plug on and have electricity there, or turn your gas oven on and cook something, or have your boiler come on with the gas and the electric, because obviously the water gets pumped round. You get charged a standing rate for that they've all gone up as well. And I'm like, I get the price. If I use, if I waste gas by having my heating on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even in the summer, and just open my windows in the summer to cool down but keep my heating on, which I don't do, but if I did, then I would deserve to pay a huge amount. But I've not had my heating on for ages. But I'm still paying more than I was paying last year when I didn't have my heating on, because the standing charge is near enough doubled. But it doesn't cost them any more. It costs them more to buy it and then sell it to us as a unit. It doesn't cost any more to send it. It's the same. It's the same pipe. They've not put new pipes in. They've not done anything, but they're charging us more. No. Time travel does exist. Time travel's 24 hours in a day. But there is a video with a woman in a Charlie Chaplin film on her phone. Yeah. Don't forget as well now, you've got AI that can do anything. So expect to see lots of stuff like that in the future. I'm glad I'm not with them. I don't think it's only going to be British Gas. They're all going to be raking in the profits, 100%. Belarusian president has no hesitation using nuclear weapons. Vladimir Putin is set to offload some nuclear missiles to Belarus, but Alexander Lukashenko has said he would have no hesitation in launching the warheads if a threat presented itself. Now, you are supposed to say that, which is one thing Corbyn wouldn't say, which is one reason why I didn't want to vote for him. We've got this nuclear thing and he's not going to press the button, or at least threaten to press the button. The problem is that this guy is madder than Putin. And the chances are he might accidentally press the button, or press it when he's had a bit too much vodka, or press it because, I don't know, the milkman's not delivered the milk or something, and cause World War III and or the end of human civilization, which to be fair might be good for the planet in the long run. Right, we've all seen lookalikes, and lookalikes, like Tina Turner lookalikes, and Prince Charles lookalikes, and the Queen lookalikes, and all that kind of stuff, and most of them are very, very good indeed. We've also been to wax museums where they've got wax statues of various celebrities and that kind of thing, and like Louis Tussauds, Madame Tussauds, absolutely amazing, the quality and the amount of effort they go to. They even get pock marks in there as well and all that. It's amazing what they do. And then there are some lookalikes and some waxworks that you're like, what the hell is that meant to be? Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a waxwork. This is a real person who earns a stupid amount of money for looking like... Shut up, Harry. This is Prince Harry lookalike. And business is booming as I make over £1,000 a day because he's a Prince Harry lookalike. Like, what? Rhys Whittock has claimed earlier this year that his career as Prince Harry lookalike was almost over because of the actions of the Duke of Sussex, but it is now booming more than ever. That Belarusian president has some amazing flat and controllable hair. Very good. Doesn't even... No, I look closer to Prince Harry than that guy. I mean, he's got the uniform on, give him that, but Prince Harry isn't allowed to wear that, so, well, that's wrong for a start. There's another uniform he could wear. What we won't talk about that. But face-wise, I mean, okay, he looks younger than Prince Harry, but he doesn't look like a young Prince Harry either. He doesn't look anything like anyone. To be fair, he looks as much like Prince Harry as someone who's found the image of Prince Harry on a slice of toast. But there are better jobs that pay more, might be a bit more risky. Every 6 months, this man in South Dakota climbs this communication tower to change the light bulb. He's paid $20,000 per climb. And you know what? You can keep your $20,000, thank you very much, even if it is only every 6 months. So that's 40 grand a year for 2 days' work. But you know what? I'll pass on that one. Damn it, I've got to get a Guinness. Oh dear. We're nearly over now. You can wait till the end, Jay Morris. Don't worry. Hunt for alien life gets major boost from breakthrough on one of Saturn's moons. Yeah, they found it. No, they haven't. A professor of planetary geosciences says the discovery on one of Saturn's moons means the rock has all the ingredients for aliens to live without sunlight. Well, there you go then. Winter Hill. Yeah, I wouldn't climb up Winter Hill either. Winter Hill's the local TV transmitter thing, and it's got multiple lights on it. And I bet whoever changes the light bulbs on that doesn't get paid $20,000 a pop. Belarus gets Russian nukes more powerful than atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. The missiles have been delivered to Belarus by Russian forces, and they claim that the missiles are 3 times deadlier than the atomic bomb the US dropped on Hiroshima. Well, I imagine all nuclear bombs are more powerful than the bombs dropped on Hiroshima, to be fair. I mean, it's horrendous, but there you go. North Koreans starving to death as Kim Jong-un is fixated on nuclear weapons. North Koreans have spoken out on their fight against starvation and famine as Kim Jong-un continues to focus on nuclear weapons rather than helping suffering civilians. Well, to be fair, if you do have nuclear war and you get attacked by nuclear weapons, then I think the last thing the civilians will be worried about is having any food, sadly. Greg's obsessed teen, yeah, that's a teenager, turns car into a sausage roller in tribute to a bakery chain. Greg's obsessed teen, Joe James, has decked out his Suzuki as a sausage roller with a fitting tribute to the pastry company, bagging him some free pasties and some fantastic reactions. I can think of you know, when you've got when your hand's cold and you've got a sausage roll, and no, when your hand's warm and you've got a sausage roll, it's cold, you want to warm it up, you can grab it, and if you rub it, that's the hand gesture I'd give him, warming a sausage roll up from Greg's, because they're always cold. Rare skin bleeding virus with 40% death rate, highly likely to hit the UK. Why have we never heard of this before? Probably because it's not. The Crimean Congo hemorrhagic fever has some horrific side effects, including bleeding skin rash and a fast heart rate. Around 40% of those who get it will die. Yeah, in the Congo, not in the United Kingdom. But that Greg's like loose like Lewis Capaldi. Been up there and a Lancaster bomber flew past. Yeah, they've been around a bit, the Lancaster bomber. I've seen it a few times now. Don't worry, you're not going to bleed to death. You might bleed to death if you get bit in the face by a snake. Steve Irwin's son bitten in face by a python, just like his dad in deja vu moments. Well, it's not deja vu because it was your dad who had it last time, and it's you now, so that's not deja vu, that's a coincidence. Robert Irwin was lucky that the carpet python didn't go for his eyeball when it got aggressive and struck him in the face. He then revealed that his dad, Steve, also had a similar incident years ago. Well, it would be years ago because his dad's been dead for quite a while now, tragically. I used to like Steve Irwin. I thought he was a really good guy. Not necessarily agree with what he did with pulling crocodiles by the tail, things like that, but, you know, he seemed enthusiastic. We like enthusiasm. Hero Brit boy pulls lifeless child from bottom of hotel pool on Turkey holiday. Brit boy Lewis, 10, has been dubbed a hero after he pulled the lifeless body of a 4-year-old child from the depths of a hotel swimming pool, with his dad, Craig, administrating CPR on the youngster, who is now recovering. So a happy story. Well done, young 10-year-old lad. You've done good. Man chasing chicken finds 2,000-year-old underground city home to 20,000 people. We've already spoke about that, but it's worth repeating. It is hilarious. And then finally, I like your t-shirt. What t-shirt? What t-shirt? The Greg's Lad t-shirt, yeah. Man who charges people £10 to park like a wally says he's amazed by how many people pay up. Parking neat and tight, £3. Parking like a Wally, £10. And yeah, it's in England. You can tell that because, well, the countryside, and also the fact that the number plates on the back of the cars, although blurred out, are yellow, which they are in Britain, and also that the sign there saying parking neat and tight and parking like a Wally. The one I wear, I always wear this shirt. This is my. I wear this every time I wear this shirt. What is a Wally? Idiots, nutter, fool. Yeah, inconsiderate. I've heard Hugh Grant say that in movies. Yeah, it's usually it's a mild insult. So if you get called a Wally, it's like, you know, it's like the least insulting you could be called. So yeah, it's a Wally, a Wally. Anyway, it's different. Yeah, definitely. No, it's not different. It's the same shirt. I was wearing it. It's the same shirt. I was wearing it. It's the same shirt. I was wearing it. It's the same shirt. I'm sure it's the same shirt. You got me thinking now. Keir Starmer. Yeah, Wally. Yeah, Keir Starmer. That'll do. Anyway, that is it for this week. I say a lot of news, but not many news things, if that makes sense. It was a lot of news, but it was like spread out over a long period of time. So yeah, Trump and all that. Anyway, we're done. We're done. So we're going to say a huge thank you. We've had 40 views. We've got 8 people watching at the moment. We've had 1 like. We've got a chat rate of 3. So JT and Rach, thank you for listening, because they listen to this one. Smiley Mac, Deno, who else has been on? Angela O'Kane, Marty Hopkirk, Jay Morris, Smiley Mac. I've already said Smiley Mac. I think I've already said Smiley Mac. I think that's it. Glad I made it for a change, indeed, and it was quite a short one, really. All things. Should start putting a reminder on YouTube so we know when. I did try doing that, but because you only get notifications when I put stuff up so many times, it was taking the notification of me actually going up, so it didn't really work. In my area, we had a demonstrator in our shopping centre. It was quite sad. What were they demonstrating about? Demonstrating about a shopping centre. We don't like the shopping centre. It is bad. Knock it down, build some flats like my dad, who lives in Wigan. I did that today. I was at the shop and playing a record. I can't remember what it was now. Testing it, make sure it was okay, and started the conversation, and the words I was speaking started forming in line with the lyrics of the song, and so I just changed the lyrics of the song to carry on the conversation, and it worked actually quite well. And yeah, I think even though my singing was dreadful, I thought all parents not seeing their kids, well, that's fair enough. I think all parents should be able to see their kids unless they are a danger to their kids, in which case they should be seen in a secure area with members of staff who can vet thingamabobs. And returned back to you, Deno, as well. Hope you're okay. And Jay Morris, Marty Upkirk, thumbs up to you as well. Double thumbs up. And that is it. Pardon me. Thank you very much for watching video stuff. And I will see you all again next time. 1 hour and 34 minutes. Short one this week. So you've not on your break yet. Alright, but his kids didn't want anything to do with him. There was police, very sad. He was so emotional. Well, there might be a very good reason why they don't do, and maybe he should look back at what he's done that's made them feel that way. I mean, well, I often joke that life's like a soap opera, and for most of our lives we are in the background, we're the extras. We're in the back of the Rover's Return, or we're walking down the street, or we're riding a bike in Emmerdale, or we're cleaning the windows in Albert Square, and yeah, we don't know. So, and then all of a sudden, life is like you're the main character, and everything's going wrong, and life's horrible and everything. But hopefully, it'll sort itself out for him, and hopefully, he can get himself back on side with his family. Am I going bolder or what? Well, I should be doing. The age I am. Anyway, love to silence. She's gone. I don't know where she is. When's the next Lego build? I keep saying I'm going to do it, but then I have loads of other stuff I need to do. I'm so busy at the moment. I don't have time to do anything, which is why I've kind of neglected YouTube a little bit recently. Apart from the twice weekly Wigan Watchers and this and the drives and whatnot, but we'll get there. Poor man was sobbing, but people were telling him to jump and end it. Oh yeah, well, some people are absolute fools. Sadly, that's the human nature for you, isn't it? Some people are just sick in the head. Anyway, on that lovely happy note, I'm going to say thank you for watching, and all being well, we will see you again another time. Our average duration is 13 minutes and 38 seconds, which is pretty damn good as well. So yeah, look after yourselves, stay safe, and don't do any jumping or daft like that. And I will see you all again soon. Until then, bye. I have to wait now for the right thing to go. Thanks for listening. Bye. So yeah, has it gone? Has it gone? Has it gone? Yeah, it's gone.